On the 28th of June, 1914, the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, together with his wife, arrived in the city of Sarajevo for a visit. The city government held a grand welcoming ceremony. Many citizens were arranged along both sides of the road to greet them. Hidden among the noisy crowd on the streets were 7 Serbian assassins. As the royal motorcade passed by, one assassin threw a bomb at the Archduke's convertible, but it was deflected behind the car by an accompanying guard. Afterwards, the Archduke changed his scheduled route. When the car reached a corner, it was spotted by a nearby Serbian fanatic. As the car approached, he fired 2 shots in succession, killing both Ferdinand and his wife. This was the world-shocking Sarajevo incident. A month later, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, and thus the First World War broke out. Before the war erupted, there existed 4 fundamental conflicts among the European powers. After the Franco-Prussian War ended in 1871, France and Germany became enemies, giving rise to the Franco-German conflict. With Germany's unification and rise, the powerful German Empire was no longer content with the existing world order and embarked on a path of expansion, inevitably clashing with Britain and Russia over colonies and trade. Thus arose the Anglo-German and Russo-German conflicts. Meanwhile, in the Balkan Peninsula of southeastern Europe, the struggle for influence between Austria-Hungary and Tsarist Russia produced the Austro-Russian conflict. Against the backdrop of these 4 conflicts, each country, in order to safeguard its own interests and security, adhered to the principle of "the enemy of my enemy is my friend," pulling allies together and signing military treaties. This gave rise to 2 opposing military blocs: the Triple Alliance of Germany, Italy, and Austria-Hungary, and the Triple Entente of Britain, France, and Russia. The focal point of conflict between the 2 blocs lay in the Balkan Peninsula, as the transportation hub linking Europe, Asia, and Africa. With its unique geographical position and great strategic value, it inevitably drew special attention. The powers' influence intertwined here, maintaining a balance that was both subtle and fragile. Within the Balkans, due to complex historical legacies, there existed political divisions, territorial disputes, religious conflicts, class struggles, and nationalism. On this small piece of land lay immense potential for conflict, truly the powder keg of Europe. And the Sarajevo incident of 1914 was the final spark that ignited it. The Sarajevo incident refers to the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary and his wife, Sophie, in Sarajevo, by a member of the Serbian secret society known as the Black Hand. This diplomatic incident took place on the 28th of June, 1914. 1 month later, on the 28th of July, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia. In the following week, Britain, France, Germany, and Russia entered the war one after another, according to their alliance treaties. Thus, the First World War was ignited. During this 1-month interval, the European nations did attempt to avoid a full-scale war, but the situation gradually spiraled out of control. This period became known as the July Crisis. To truly understand how the nations were pushed into the abyss of war, we must closely examine this history. First, let us go back to the day Ferdinand's visit was scheduled. The 28th of June held a special meaning for the Serbs. It was the very day Serbia had once been conquered by the Turks, and so it was remembered by the Serbs as a day of national humiliation. In 1908, Austria-Hungary annexed Bosnia by force, and then set its sights on neighboring Serbia, seeking to incorporate it as well. In Serbia, there existed an extreme nationalist organization called the Black Hand, which aimed to create a greater Serbia, with Slavs at its core. Their main activities involved stirring up chaos in Slavic territories under Austro-Hungarian rule, inciting national independence as a way to advance their cause. The Black Hand regarded Ferdinand's visit as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and so decided to carry out an assassination. The Serbian government also noticed this, and, through its embassy, warned the Austro-Hungarian authorities of potential danger. But Ferdinand ignored the warning, and insisted on visiting Bosnia on the 28th of June. Why did he insist on this date? Because to Ferdinand, this was also a special day, the 14th wedding anniversary of him and his wife. Known as a man deeply devoted to his wife, he insisted on taking her with him to Sarajevo on that day. On the 28th of June, after attending a military exercise, the couple drove into downtown Sarajevo, greeted by honor guards on both sides of the road. The crowds were packed, but only a small number of gendarmes were maintaining order. As the motorcade drove along the poorly guarded streets, Black Hand members hidden in the crowd suddenly hurled a bomb at the car. Luckily, it did not harm Ferdinand and his wife. The panicked driver immediately stepped on the gas and sped toward City Hall, narrowly escaping. Afterwards, Ferdinand attended the welcoming ceremony at City Hall, then rode again to visit the wounded at the hospital. But the driver made a wrong turn at an intersection, bringing the car right in front of an assassin waiting at the corner. The assassin fired 2 shots. One struck Ferdinand in the neck, the other Sophie in the abdomen. Both died instantly. The assassin's name was Princip, a Serbian nationalist, only 17 years old and still in school. After the attack, Princip swallowed the poison he had prepared to kill himself, but he did not expect it to be expired and ineffective. He was arrested by the police. 4 years later, Princip died in prison from tuberculosis. The gunshots of Sarajevo had started the countdown to the First World War. On the 28th of June 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary was assassinated. At that moment, exactly 30 days remained before the First World War broke out.